Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this video I'm going to be looking into the question, what can you do to alchemize your obstacles into opportunities and your pain into purpose? There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Fairy Quartz. Group 2 is the Lapis Lazuli Heart. And group 3 is the Aragonite. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Fairy Quartz. So let's see, what can you do to alchemize obstacles into opportunities and pain into purpose? Okay, we have pleasure, blessings, listen, reach, protected, you are safe and supported while you change your career, and travel, your life purpose involves traveling. So there's an essence here of some people that might have like a creative block, artistic block, writer's block, for example, or just feeling very stuck, very stagnant within maybe literally like professionally within your career, or in trying to determine what you want for yourself in terms of like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, your life in general. What is the purpose? What is the meaning of everything that you've created for yourself? And how can you sort of utilize that going forward? There may be things, goals that you have reached that you had been working toward for quite some time that may be less than satisfactory, or you're wondering like, should there be something more? Should I be feeling something more? Should I be more enthusiastic about kind of the state in which I am in right now? And there's a sense of almost needing to kind of think outside of the box in some sort of way, that if you've been very much adhering to a linear path forward or a particular method of doing things up to this point in time, there's a sense that there's been almost like a slowdown within the energies, because you're encouraged to infuse a bit of spontaneity and really thinking for yourself in a way that has been unusual. So if you've been sort of following in the footsteps of other people, maybe even as far as like spiritual practices or again like creative practices are concerned, if you've looked to others as like a mentor, or you've been following a set kind of prescribed guideline, a how-to for how to reach certain goals, or ways in which even kind of professionally or creatively you've structured your work or the approach to your work, there's a sense here of almost spirit putting the ball in your court, because you're supposed to infuse your own like individual signature upon something. So there's a lack of forward momentum, or it's almost like a stall or a slowdown, because you're meant to really just take center stage. It's your opportunity to take the lead in this situation, to deviate from what other people have done, to almost kind of like pioneer or forge a very unique path forward. So this can involve, even with the idea of like, listen, diving in deep to kind of the quiet voice within yourself. In what ways are you dissatisfied with maybe the reality of the notion of happiness that you had worked toward, professionally speaking, or again, in terms of the life that you've been living? What is that call to adventure? What is sort of that daring expedition that you could go on that would really sort of, even if it just involves kind of other areas of your life, maybe being very spontaneous, literally taking a trip, traveling, change in location, change in venue, even change in your daily routine. How you're structuring sort of the way you are filling your mornings, what you're doing throughout the day, what the evening looks like, all these different kind of essences of just something new, something invigorated, something that rejuvenates and kind of gets your mind out of a series of like monotonies, or something that has become very predictable, like a program that just sort of runs on autopilot in a way. This is really an opportunity for you to sort of make a quantum leap forward in a different direction, or to even just shake things up. You may have found yourself very unconsciously like attached to patterns, and that this is really an opportunity for you to expand and grow. Like there's a lot of growth potential available. It's almost like the path is available for you. You just need to take that first step in a different direction. So this can be kind of not putting off longer term goals, not telling yourself next year I'll try something, next month I'll do something different, maybe in a couple of years or further down the road, or just even kind of dwelling in the arena of wishful thinking and what if. It's almost like a step in a new direction, even in the way in terms of you're starting to set plans in motion. It feels like that in and of itself will start to break up the energy that may be experienced as like an obstacle. You've come far enough with a particular approach or with a particular mindset, and it's almost like this next level of elevation along a straight path is in fact it's a deviation. It's like a curve in a new direction. It's you sort of surprising yourself, or defying convention, defying the ways in which you've been doing things or thinking about things or approaching things in your life, to take that leap of faith, that bold and daring sort of like what if opportunity, or the last thing that you think that you could do. Maybe it's like a big dream that feels very out of reach. It feels very outlandish or unattainable. Maybe there's been people in your life that have kind of discouraged this, have sort of tried to bring you down to earth and looking at the practicalities of things, where you may have really gotten caught up in the nuance, in sort of the details of things. And there's an energy here of exploring more of that dreamlike energy, the creative force and flow. What would you do if there were no limitations? What would you do if there were no obstacles? What would you do if kind of the sky was the limit, the resources were infinite? You had kind of free range in order to be able to sort of blossom and shift and deviate your life in any particular direction. There's almost something here with like an element within yourself, with this idea of protected, that you're holding on to potency within yourself. There may even be kind of a bit of passion or even indignation and frustration that you've been trying to kind of keep a level head about things. You've been trying to remain very humble, very grounded, very stabilized within, perhaps even pushing yourself towards long-term goals or a destination that has been reached that didn't quite turn out how you thought it would. And you're trying to just sort of look around and be grateful for what you have, or grateful for what's in the moment. There's almost a sense of igniting a fire within you that screams out for something more, that says to yourself, or allows yourself to be carried in the direction of there must be something more than this, not just as like a quiet desperation that simmers inside, but as something that really helps to chart out a different sort of course for yourself. That it may be something where if you're feeling you're almost kind of like skimming something that might be a little bit out of reach, you might be wondering, am I headed towards like a rock bottom? Am I moving downward, out of the direction of reaching attainable goals and dreams? Or, have I kind of reached the end of the line as far as potency, creativity, and potential, especially if it comes to like blocks as far as artistic pursuits, writer's block, or even just a sense of frustration about what's the meaning of my life? What's the purpose of how I fill my days, how I'm spending my time on this earth? There's almost a sense of you excavating something from within yourself, or freeing something from within yourself that has remained very civilized in the process of moving towards goals up to this point in time, or has been very strict or rigid in the idea of kind of what that might look like, what your life must look like, what a level of personal fulfillment should look like, how to reach that along a very predictable or kind of customary path. And so this is the call, this is the invitation invitation to, kind of with this canary here on the blessings cards, like the canary in the coal mine, venture off into that darkness, venture off into that void, into that unknown space where you remove the restrictions and the limits upon yourself as far as what that next step will look like. How to kind of take this frustration and start to really, it feels like as well with kind of the cherry blossoms here in the background of this card also, there may even be something where you've reached kind of a plateau, or you're experiencing a bit of obstacle, or just kind of sticky sort of energies that are making it very difficult to create progress, because there's some sort of dream that you've kind of kept secreted within yourself. There's something where you're not allowing yourself to kind of visualize that full potential actualized. That you might have big goals and dreams, but then you're trying to be remaining focused too much on just what do I need to do in the here and now in order to take one step in front of the other towards that. This is a sense of unfurling the wings that you are like holding within your heart and letting your heart soar, letting your heart be that kind of compass that guides you, that navigational device that sort of pulls you out of the ordinary, out of the customary, into kind of this rogue space within yourself, into a place where you're willing to innovate. You're allowing yourself to kind of color outside of the lines of the design of your life up to this point in time, or the ways in which you have allowed yourself to kind of create that traction in different directions. And it feels to be something that might even be kind of, a little more of an outlandish dream within kind of that ideal life, or, what that might feel like, or the actuality of that in sort of a way that might not have been something you pursued very aggressively in the past, but kind of saved it for later, or it felt a little bit risky. You might have taken kind of a safe and narrow path up to the point that you find yourself. And this almost feels like the invitation to sort of crack open that seed of potential. That big dream that felt like it was too much of a risk in the past, this is the opportunity for you to start to kind of utilize the wisdom and the skills and the experience that you've garnered up to this point in time. That might be the nutrients that was sort of missing in the past that could help that whatever's in that seed of potential to really flourish and blossom and grow in a way that helps to elevate you beyond the perception of kind of a stuck energy, or obstacles, challenges within yourself, or even outwardly speaking, it might be a path toward abundance for you that has been unexplored up to this point in time. It might even seem like a dream that is so big, or what others might construe as like ridiculous, and yet it is exactly the path forward that kind of gets you to where you need to be materially, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, actually, creatively speaking. And with that is almost the idea as well of taking that pain, that frustration of, I wish I had done things differently, I wish I'd chosen another route, I feel like I might have wasted my time, or I veered off course in a way. Garner that frustration within yourself and utilize that as kind of the fire that propels you beyond any perception of a glass ceiling, specifically ceilings that have been kind of erected around and kind of enclosing yourself, ways in which you are sort of limiting or wanting to almost stick with a set or prescribed path, like others have done it this way, so I must do it that way as well. This is the opportunity for you to really be an innovator and to trust in your ability to take leaps of faith, trusting in the ability to kind of rise beyond challenges. And if you find yourself in kind of a dip, understanding that whatever sort of valley you end up in, there is treasure within that as well. That at this particular point in time where you're in this kind of stuck phase, any movement in a different direction as opposed to kind of what you've been pressing forth, continuing to sort of push against gravity, any change in a different direction, whether it's a turn inward or you're veering off in various kind of angles, all of that feels to be something that'll really break up this friction and help to kind of fuel you and sort of propel you onto a different level of your personal journey that will bring with it, of course, its own series of challenges, but feels to also be something which, has some remarkable blessings waiting there for you. So I'm going to get a couple of mantra cards to just get some affirmations for you from spirit, some final kind of words and guidance for you, and then I will close the reading out with some initials. Okay, we have sacred space. A profound transformation is transpiring in your soul. There is a whole new world brewing. Remember, we are the co-creators of our collective reality. It's time to start a revolution of calm stillness and gentle humanity, to unite, celebrate differences, and welcome diversity in ideas, beliefs, and thought. Embrace the new. Life is a circle, a cycle of changing seasons. Let us welcome each new chapter and surrender the past with grace. Let us remember that nothing is ever truly lost, for all lives on eternally in our hearts. Threads of love connect us all. No one and no thing are separate. The wheel of life. We are on this earth for a short while. We have no real idea why we are here, where we came from, or where we are going. Perhaps we never come nor go, but change form from spirit into matter and matter into spirit as the wheel of life turns. Trust all is well. Everything is happening for a reason. Although the reason may currently be unclear, trust that all is unfolding for your highest good in accord with the will of your soul. Divine purpose and timing are at play. As events unfold, they will blossom into something pleasantly unexpected. Trust that all is well. Soul expression. Be courageous. Express yourself freely without censorship, and you will discover that you are far more than you have imagined. Let go of fear and doubt by reminding yourself that you are a child of the universe, and that all in creation is one. One world, one heart, one soul. And don't give up. In silence, all knowledge is revealed. To an open heart, all is wisdom. Don't give up on your dream. Go forth, shine, and savor each moment. Be the love you seek and the change you wish to see. Give freely without condition, for it is through giving that you now receive. So these initials can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got I, B, M, I, B, J, X, F, O, O, A, Q, D, S, and W. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. Chose the lapis lazuli heart. So let's see, what can you do to alchemize obstacles into opportunities and pain into purpose? We have purification, potential, keeper of hope, retreat, children. Your life purpose involves helping, teaching, and healing children. And time to decide. Make a decision based on your heart's true desires. So there's an element here of a bit of impatience with the idea of children, and then the mountain in the background of this potential card, which is representing obstacles. There may be a sense of that you're looking too much at kind of bigger goals or long-term goals, and stressing out a lot as far as like how long it will take to reach those things, how far you have to go in order to kind of come to a place of culmination, reach a vista. Maybe it's something where the current situation that you are in, ways in which it may be a struggle to really find time to carve out in your day outside of your day-to-day responsibilities to kind of, work toward even cultivating time for self-care, time to dream, time to reflect, time to work toward other goals and dreams that you have sort of outside of whatever you need to do to just sort of make ends meet, or meet those duties and obligations and expenses for yourself. Maybe there's people that depend on you for support, things of that nature. And it almost feels to be something where, rather than getting so caught up in the nuance of every little thing that needs to be done in order to kind of get to that final, goal or that final destination, there's almost a sense here with retreat of sort of taking a step back and just focusing on what you can do in the here and now. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Maybe it's making a to-do list. These are sort of the resources that I have to work with. This is the time in the day that I can carve out chunks for myself to focus on something of my choosing, in order to even kind of have some quiet time to brainstorm away through current challenges, through certain obstacles. It may even be something where you're looking at it a little too much from, there needs to be extensive amounts of time all blocked out to work toward one particular thing. And it might even be something that can be very helpful to just sort of say, I'll give myself 10 minutes here. I'll give myself 15 minutes here. I've got an hour of time. I've got an afternoon that I can just devote to this. And rather than kind of getting very overwhelmed at what could even be a deadline that you've set for yourself, perceived or actual, and watching the clock, kind of other distractions that may have come up in your life that represent kind of surfacing obstacles in addition to whatever is like literally required for you to move in the direction of like a cultivation of your best life, or even getting back on your feet in the aftermath of something. There may be a sense of kind of looking too much towards what that sort of elevated status will be, or what that kind of place where you're feeling very comfortable is, and that's kind of, it's creating a bit of anxiety or tension within yourself to where you're almost stumbling over your own feet. You're getting in your own way in a sense. You're too wrapped up in your mind as far as maybe even worst case scenarios playing out. There may be like actual pressure that has sort of created a sense of urgency, or there may even be kind of the imagined sense of sort of like, what if I take all this time, or what if I, expel all this effort, or even kind of frantically not having the time and effort to expel properly, in a fear that like some sort of dream or goal will follow through. It'll fail to thrive. It'll fail to launch. And there's a sense of almost talking yourself into a place where there's a lot of energy that is expelled into the direction of worry. So taking a step back, maybe even at this point in time, sort of putting on pause efforts that you're making to kind of chip away at those larger goals. That there may be a sense here of purification to just sort of switch gears, focus on other things. If there's something as far as like a business that you're trying to start, or life changes that you're seeking to make, financial changes that you're wanting to call in for yourself. And it may be something that these are a little more long-term, in the sense of it's not just going to be an overnight success. It's not like you can just, pour yourself into something over the course of a couple days and see yield and see result. It may be something where patience in and of itself is required. It could be a challenge at this point in time, or even an invitation to go in and sort of deal with your inner child, almost like a bit of tough love, through that degree of impatience that it feels like is creating an element of stagnancy on top of whatever these sort of actual obstacles are, whether that's time, whether that's resources, whether that's something, else that kind of creates more of a longer path forward, a marathon as opposed to a race towards whatever you are seeking to kind of cultivate or call in. Maybe even as far as that idea of like pain into purpose, this can involve your healing journey, ways in which you've been trying to peel back layers of the onion around wounds that exist within yourself, and you may be at a place of feeling very frustrated, sort of like, where does it end? Where's the light at the end of the tunnel? Why am I not feeling better? Why am I not able to get over these things? Why am I not able to just move forward? forward. And so it's almost the sense of just needing for a moment to sort of shelve your efforts to improve, shelve your efforts to really make sustainable progress. And that might even be something that's kind of a struggle. There could be some control issues here, fear with the keeper of hope about if I get out of my rhythm, if I get off course, if I let myself have like a day of relaxation, or I let myself sort of focus on something else for a week, if I give myself the grace to change a timeline that I had in mind, rather than kind of like meeting a deadline and really trying to like get to that. There may even be a sense of almost just kind of creating a wider range, extending deadlines, literally if you can, or even just something within yourself that you've kind of made a vow, you've made a promise, I'm going to accomplish said thing by this date. And it may be something that there's a lot of sort of pressure that you have put on yourself, or pressure that you've put on this project or this change that requires more of almost a cushion of flexibility and flow. It's the idea that almost switching gears, putting your attention somewhere else, will give you time, like with this time to decide, it'll give you the ability to kind of receive, it feels like, innovative ideas, downloads, guidance, rejuvenating energies from spirit, maybe even kind of getting out into the natural world, getting away from the desk, getting away from the environment that you're in, or whatever those kind of stresses and pressures are, even if it's for 5 minutes, even if it's for 10 minutes, something that is just, it's outside of the routine and the pattern that you've set for yourself at this point in time, gives you an ability to kind of catch your breath. It gives you the ability to sort of take in or allow yourself to be infused, and really sort of hear and allow to surface from the depths within yourself solutions that might not have been otherwise kind of readily accessible, or a sense of almost recharging your batteries in a way to where you're able to kind of look at whatever this is that you're struggling to kind of overcome, or to cultivate, or to call in for yourself, as not something you're going to race towards it and then it happens, but almost moving into more of a steady pace that is kind of a flow state, more of a flow state than you've been in. If you've been very aggressively pursuing something, or very determined and diligent, it feels that it might have carried you to a certain point, but there's now a need to kind of exercise or activate some degree of allowance within, allowing for the rise of obstacles, allowing for things that kind of call your attention elsewhere, allowing yourself to kind of listen to your body's needs, listening to your energy levels. If you're burning the candle at both ends towards something, or you got a lot on your plate, this can also really speak about a way to alchemize, is to focus on stress management. What are some things that you can do? Aromatherapy is coming to mind. So for some of you, it might even be as simple as getting like a diffuser, using essential oils, lavender, for example, and just calming that stress level, investing in yourself. And for even just a couple of minutes a day can really help to sort of ease you back off of some kind of pressured state to perform, some kind of pressure that you're putting on yourself to kind of frantically meet a deadline, or to create some sort of measured change. You may have actually experienced breakthroughs and a lot of like positive transformation for yourself recently, but now you've reached kind of a place of things are sort of slowing, and it feels to also be something that to alchemize that is to really allow the changes that you've already made, even if that is just creating a plan and starting to take determined action in a particular direction, or even allowing yourself to kind of look at your present circumstances and say, what about my life am I dissatisfied with, or could I do better? And starting to kind of brainstorm and think about those things. There's almost a need to kind of allow that energy to sort of settle, allow that energy to kind of harden within yourself. Whatever you've chiseled away at, whatever you've infused yourself with at this point in time, there's almost a need to sort of let it set, let it rest, let it kind of become a new foundation within yourself. And then when you are able to kind of get back in the game, when you're able to sort of take steps forward or make moves forward, you're coming at it from more of a solid foundation within yourself, or even within kind of your circumstances. There may even be something as far as those obstacles into opportunity. There could be like help, divine intervention, serendipitous events, or again, just kind of like downloads, energy, information that may want to come through from spirit, from your spirit guides, ancestors, angels, things that kind of just come across your path through a series of synchronicities, that if you're too focused on kind of the mental chatter or a degree of impatience, you're almost missing that opportunity to receive. You're missing kind of the idea here as well, even on this retreat card with the ladybug, that like luck is on your side. The signs are all around. The subtle nudges from spirit kind of guiding you in the direction of the most expedient course of action forward, which for some of you, to create progress might almost be to allow yourself stillness for a period of time within. And it feels that that is something to where rather than kind of just trying to ride or be tossed around in sort of an energy of chaos or a frantic kind of energy within yourself, maybe even as far as like healing is concerned, like inner child healing, wounds that you're dealing with, things as far as like your spiritual path and ascension journey and growth, you may be dealing with a lot of triggers at this point in time where it's almost like you keep stinging yourself with these triggers or with what is coming up, with what is surfacing. And it's very brave of you to continue to want to kind of press forward with that, but there's almost a need to sort of take some time to let breakthroughs that you've had sort of settle, marinate on the things that you've discovered, and kind of allow yourself to sort of process that information, or like a different version of you that you've deliberately cultivated, or something that has come through kind of breakthrough energy, that there's a need to sort of settle into your skin more, into your particular environment, into kind of just the work in progress that you are, or that whatever you're sort of wanting to call in or cultivate or work towards, whatever it is. There's a need to be very like present within the moment. And when you get back up to kind of inhale and exert yourself forward once more, it feels to be something that you'll notice that there's a lot more energy to be able to kind of have those breakthroughs, to charge through those obstacles, rather than kind of like waiting for a way around them, or trying to almost push. A lot of you may have really run your battery down, your energetic battery, your psychic battery, your emotional battery, physically, all these things, to where it's almost like a period of recuperation. Allowing yourself that it is part of that creative process of generating change. There's the exertion, and then there's also a period of like retraction or retreat. And so many of you may have kind of been on this course of, just trying to find a way through, sort of festering within kind of your own state of dissatisfaction or woundedness. And there's a need to kind of almost just sit back, switch gears, allow yourself, even with that idea of children, to, kind of do something that just brings you pleasure, that doesn't have sort of like relation to bigger goals, or is, people might consider like a waste of time or frivolous, or just allowing yourself to kind of move spontaneously wherever the day may take you. There's a need to kind of have days like that, or chunks of time that is even sort of factored into your daily routine, your daily schedule, that just allows you to separate yourself from a very focus driven path. That allows for the energy of kind of co-creation from spirit to sort of come in and help to kind of nudge you, boost you, and guide you in the direction of the next kind of step that's necessary in order to kind of turn those challenges, or turn the element of kind of all that still needs to be done, or all that you're kind of discovering still needs to be dealt with, if it has to do with healing as far as that pain into purpose kind of element. It allows you an ability to kind of see things from a different angle, sort of see the forest through the trees, rather than being so stuck on the idea of it must always be an upward climb. There's almost a sense of allowing yourself that gift of just relaxation and pause, clear your energy, clear your mind of the focus, kind of redirect the focus elsewhere. And then when you insert yourself back into that project or that endeavor, or, almost that determination, it feels like it's a different version of you that steps into that, because you've allowed something that you've worked towards, or that you've kind of created, you've allowed an essence and an energy to crystallize. And so you move back forward stronger and more determined than if you continue to kind of fret or worry, or seek to chip away very actively. So I'm going to get some of these mantra cards that can be just like additional messages or words or phrases for you at this time from Spirit, and then I will close the reading out with some initials. Okay, we have message from your inner child. If I could, I would tell you every day to worry less, that you do not know how beautiful you are, that I love you, and that you are perfect as you are. Reach for the stars, the ones glowing brightly within, just behind your doubt and insecurities. Embrace them and shine. Forgiveness. You are who you are because of your history. Every experience has helped you to grow. Karma can be released through forgiveness and release. Holding on to disappointment serves no positive purpose. Wonderful happenings are emerging. Openly embrace possibility and feel the light of your beautiful soul flow through. The light of truth. The light of truth that emanates from your heart can dissolve all fear and apprehension. Trust in life. Proceed with confidence, and all will come together or be resolved in the most positive way for everyone. Repeat this mantra over and over. I follow my truth. I trust in life. Love yourself. To heal your relationship with another, you must first heal the relationship you have with yourself. Forgive, accept, and love yourself. There is a tranquil, loving space in your heart. Close your eyes and go there. A shift of awareness is all it takes. Spiritual reality. To cope with separation from a loved one, remember that we are all connected. Neither time nor space can separate that which is united in love. The entire universe with all its spaces and dimensions, hidden and seen, is inside you, and you are everywhere. And courage and trust. Step into the void of uncertainty. Trust in life, existence, and that your soul will guide you to where you want to go and whatever you want to create. Life is made of big and little moments. One day you will look back and smile, knowing how precious every moment was. So these initials can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got F, Y, B, W, U, N, U, O, E, L, C, Q, T, I, P, and Y. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the Aragonite. So let's see what you can do to alchemize obstacles into opportunities and pain into purpose. Okay, we have potential, healing chaos, expectation, freedom, books. You connect to your life purpose through your involvement with books. And yoga. Your life is enhanced by yoga, stretching, and exercising. So there's a sense here of literally, you may be well served by looking into and exploring outside of the box methods as far as self-help, healing, energy work. This can involve like Reiki healing, quantum level healing, things that you can do yourself, things that you can seek out, kind of a practitioner or a healer that can assist you in that capacity. There may even be things where you are encouraged or called to sort of look at challenges that have come up in your life in general, not as an emanation perhaps of choices and sort of their logical consequences, but there may be almost a need to kind of look deeply within yourself in terms of like patterns of wounding and move into a place of almost understanding in a certain way that a lot of the circumstances and situations that have happened in your life, both positive and negative, and especially with negative things that have yielded struggle or created challenges and obstacles and pain for yourself, that this is not necessarily reflective of like you've fully made bad choices or that you're a bad person, but almost kind of the sense of you are operating out of a place of wounding. To dive very deeply within, give yourself the gift of like exploring the shadow, exploring the nature of wounds, going further in with that than you've allowed yourself or than you thought was possible. It feels like we'll open you up to an ability to, forgive yourself with this energy of freedom, to kind of release some sort of pressure, release some sort of narrative within yourself, as far as like the inner critic or some sort of script that you have going on within, that kind of creates a lack mentality where you put a lot of pressure, you're holding on to a lot of guilt and shame. You're encouraged instead to start to recognize and realize that a lot of the things that you've magnetized into your life that have kind of left you in shambles, left you in pieces, created senses of brokenness, or have generated some sort of obstacle, even with the need to kind of heal and pick up the pieces, maybe in terms of learning to trust again, learning to open your heart to love again, ways in which you've needed to rebuild your life again in the aftermath of things that might have happened. That a lot of this is systemic of wounds within yourself that had been unrecognized, hadn't been dealt with kind of thoroughly enough. If you've taken like a very linear or surface level approach, maybe you've looked towards traditional therapy, and this is an invitation to go even deeper in, start to heal spirit within yourself, rather than just kind of emotional or actual causes of dis-ease. There's almost a sense of needing to kind of go within and look at the soul level of things, that a woundedness that was kind of crying out for attention or had been unrecognized or hadn't been dealt with, that was sending a predominant signal out that was maybe causing you to resonate with certain individuals, that ended up kind of disappointing, causing you pain, bringing anguish and heartbreak to you. Wounds within that kind of served as a homing beacon to direct you towards or to call in circumstances that may have felt like waste of time or had kind of karmic implications, kept you stuck in kind of loops and patterns, rather than sort of looking at that as sort of a load that you've carried into this life or that you've accumulated, that it's then your task to kind of pay off, sort of settle your karmic debt. There's almost a sense of embracing within the reality that there is a woundedness that exists within you that, might not have been sort of your fault or you're choosing that it was generated, but you do have like an obligation, a responsibility. You moreover have an invitation to go in and start to hold that in a different sort of space. And when you peel back those layers, when you dive in deeper, or maybe even take in some different perspectives, something beyond like a traditional approach or an assessment that you've made or that someone else has made of you, or what the information you've sort of taken in has sort of directed your belief and your mindset and your attention toward, is kind of like, this is the explanation, this is the cause, this is what this means. There's almost a sense of going in deeper and looking at it not so much as kind of a flaw or a fracture, but maybe even like a structure of your personality that hadn't properly been addressed, hadn't properly been dealt with. aspects of your personality that maybe growing up, people in your family in your life didn't know how to deal with these things, and so they were tucked away within the shadow. Maybe even resources didn't exist at the time when you were growing up to kind of put a name to certain things, to explain or to provide resources to kind of help with certain things. It's bringing forth the idea of like those of you who may resonate as being on the neurodivergent spectrum, and if you're of a certain age, there really wasn't up until somewhat recently, there really wasn't a lot of information out there about that. So there's like whole swaths of people that are out there that have been operating under that kind of perspective of looking at life, dealing with the nature of reality, only there was no kind of way to sort of fit or segment that in. There was no description, there was no definition for what that was. It wasn't kind of like commonly known. It wasn't talked about. There weren't like available resources to start to sort of piece that together or to learn to navigate through the world with like a very unique perspective. Even elements as far as like wounds and the idea of inner child healing. You may have gone through a substantial chunk of your life not knowing that such things were possible to kind of get in there and heal the inner child, that instances that happened in your life, in your childhood, in your upbringing, in your background could create certain wounds that would then affect what normal looked like for you as an adult, what kind of you resonated with, what you gravitated toward, what your type was, the life that you've allowed yourself to create for yourself based on kind of not knowing that those limits, those parameters, those expectations, that list of qualifications or credentials could have come from a place within that was almost kind of hurt, that was not allowing you to fully even sort of vibrationally or energetically believe that like something better was possible, that kind of different sort of experiences or a healthy or higher vibration of experiences was available, was suitable, was for you. So with the idea of like expectation and the energies of transformation on this butterfly, there's almost a need to kind of go in and reflect that a lot of kind of what the pain you've experienced, any kind of obstacles that sort of exist at this point in time for you as a result of sort of your life up to this point in time. There may even be something rooted in terms of opportunity and purpose that lies within that journey of self-discovery, how you are redefining the ways in which you have sort of characterized yourself as an individual. Taking the time to really invest, also healing chaos with all these little butterflies here in the background can definitely speak to like ancestral wounds, things that have been part of like a legacy of lack that has been inherited, ways in which your parents, your grandparents, or even sort of like further back within your heritage could have really just templated in almost like a fear-based paradigm to gravitate towards things that were maybe safe and predictable and very kind of narrow within range in terms of creating a life for oneself, the actualization of dreams, things of that nature. And if you fit anywhere outside of that box, you might have almost been shamed about those things and sort of held that in. The best of you, the brightest light within you sort of being tucked away. And it feels like that in and of itself may have led to kind of, sort of a weight, an entrenched energy within. You weren't able to actualize your potential because there was almost a failing on your part, or the people that, you were dealing with environmentally, or even in terms of the legacy, what was passed down. There was a failing to appreciate almost a layer of uniqueness, a layer of individuality, things where there might have been pressure to perform or a lot of shaming involved at the idea of failure that could have really created a very solid and almost tense structure of not taking risks, not really exploring who am I and sort of what do I want as an individual as opposed to what other people want or expect for me. And so there may be something where the answer almost kind of exists within and sort of just surrendering, relaxing into a place of flow where you're able to kind of open your mind beyond sort of how you've defined yourself at this point in time. This can almost speak to something that's like a voluntary descent into the nature of the shadow, rather than waiting for a dark night of the soul to occur, taking steps to kind of explore those sort of inner chambers within yourself. If you find yourself in the midst of a dark night of the soul as well, this can really indicate that you're feeling around in an area and in a range within yourself that may feel very uncomfortable. It may be, something to where almost the ideas and belief systems that you have, kind of traditional information that you've come upon, or what people have sort of assessed you as, or you've defined yourself as at this point in time. It may be something that is it's only surface level. It's very linear. It's kind of perpetuating a chaos or an inability to sort of move beyond pain into a state of feeling better. It's creating a sense of almost like obstacles cannot be overcome sufficiently, or you build something only to watch it wash away again, because there's something deeper that you're kind of missing. You're not understanding about yourself, and it speaks to moving into that with a place not of shaming yourself or faulting yourself, but it's almost reaching and extending yourself to different sorts of resources, ideas and beliefs, and sort of trying those on for size, that may be outside the scope and range of what you've traditionally been taught, what you've traditionally come to believe, what you've traditionally sort of embraced as like a path toward wellness. There may be something where the structures that have been put in place, the practices put in place, the beliefs put in place, they've brought you so far. Now's the time to, kind of explore other layers, go deep within that psyche, go deep within that subconscious, and sort of, look at things not from the lens or perspective of what other people have told you is the case, but sort of like, who are you? What feels right for you? What is something that is maybe available now as an idea, as a discussion that is out there, something that you can read about, you can participate in, that maybe wasn't available for you earlier in your journey. Either the information wasn't out there, it didn't kind of exist in such a common or accessible form, depending on what it is, or something where you just hadn't been able to kind of stumble upon that. You hadn't been shown that yet. It hadn't been intersected with you and where you are on your journey, because you were meant to sort of lay a foundation in an other direction. So there's a sense here of kind of breaking ground into something that is more kind of deep and abstract within yourself than you've kind of allowed yourself up to this point. Painting, not really cleaning the slate, but painting almost a more broad picture of who you are as an explanation that might help you to kind of alleviate some degree of obstacle or fixation on pain and suffering, because you're giving yourself a pass in the sense of, I did the best I could with the tools available at the time. Now there's different tools, there's different kind of definitions, there's different ways of viewing myself that are available. And so I now have the ability to, kind of write a different story. I have a different ability to, kind of ease back on a sense of shaming myself for things that didn't go right, things that I wish I had done better, ways in which you may have been like the cause of your own suffering, or had called in or resonated with people, places, and things that generated suffering for you. That it feels like you'll kind of extend yourself leaps and bounds in that healing journey by definitely thinking outside of the box, or seeking kind of more of the unorthodox explanation for why you find yourself at this particular place in time where there is pain that you are trying to find some way to deal with, or some kind of obstacle that has sort of arisen, or that you're finding yourself in kind of that challenge place as far as where to go from here, what to do from this point forward with your life. So I'm going to get some message cards, little mantras here that can serve as additional messages for you from Spirit, and then I'll close the reading out with some initials. Okay, we have change within the unchangeable. Life is constantly changing, even though it is unchanging at its core. Change is a part of life. It is what keeps life's never-ending story interesting. Allow your branches to move with the breeze and adapt with the seasons, but keep your roots firmly planted in the earth beneath you. Leap of faith. Be guided by your instincts. Be brave and leap with faith and belief in yourself. You have much to offer. These are the messages that the universe wants you to hear today. Repeat this mantra. I trust my intuition. I have faith in the universe. There is infinite potential in each moment. Soul light. A relationship may seem less than perfect, yet from the perspective of your soul, this relationship is here to help you grow. Greater understanding and compassion help, but at the same time, stand up for yourself and your rights. Listen to and be guided by the light in your soul. All is one. You have the power to face all adversity and meet every challenge through the wisdom of compassion, creativity, and love. All will work out well. The universe is on your side. Let your mantra be, all is one. Repeat this throughout your day and in times of trouble. Heart song. Check in with your heart. What is it singing? Deep down, you know what is right. You have the answers, but it will take courage to face an issue. As scary as it seems, you can do it. The universe will support you as soon as you take the first step. And inner wisdom. 1,000 thoughts will come and go. Allow them to come, but do not attach. Allow them to go. Focus on your inner light, the wisdom of your soul, for it alone is true and everlasting. Be guided by your heart. You have all it takes to achieve what you want. So these initials can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got C, Q, B, R, P, T, L, F, C, B, D, S, Z, O, U, H, W, I, and M. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.